Rejected, the system's biggest mistake. How Black women are turning exclusion into a $1 trillion revolution. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the extraordinary work of Dr. Michelle Wheeler, whose groundbreaking research has fundamentally transformed our understanding of entrepreneurship, resilience, and opportunity in America. Over the past 5 years, Dr. Wheeler has traveled to 47 states, conducting over 3,000 interviews with Black women entrepreneurs who are literally rewriting the economic playbook of this nation. Her dedication isn't just academic, it's revolutionary. In documenting these untold stories, she hasn't merely collected data, she has illuminated entirely new pathways of possibility that challenge everything we think we know about success, adversity, and the human capacity for reinvention. Dr. Wheeler's work doesn't just observe transformation, it catalyzes it. We have a particular way of thinking about setbacks in our culture, don't we? When doors close, when opportunities vanish, when systems fail us, our narrative suggests these are obstacles to overcome, or worse, dead ends. But what if we've been thinking about this all wrong? What if what looks like rejection is actually redirection? What if exclusion is actually an invitation to innovation? This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't motivational fluff. This is precisely what's happening right now across America in what may be the most remarkable economic transformation of our time. Here's something that might shock you. Despite facing the harshest employment landscape of any demographic group in recent years, Black women are currently leading the most significant entrepreneurial renaissance in modern American history. In early 2025, women started nearly half, 49%, of all new businesses in the United States, with Black women playing a central driving role in this transformation. Let that sink in for a moment. The very group experiencing the most severe job losses and policy setbacks is simultaneously creating the most businesses. The demographic being systematically pushed out of traditional employment is pushing forward into ownership. The community facing the steepest barriers is building the most bridges to economic self determination. This isn't just counterintuitive, it's revolutionary, and it reveals something profound about innovation itself. In April of last year alone, over 106,000 jobs held by Black women simply disappeared. This happened while national employment numbers were actually rising. Black women saw their unemployment rate jump from 5.1% to 6.1% in just 30 days. Many of these losses were directly connected to rollbacks in diversity initiatives, institutional commitments that had previously opened doors that had long been closed. In traditional economic thinking, this would be a catastrophe, a community in crisis. And make no mistake, these job losses created real hardship for real families. But something remarkable happened simultaneously that defies conventional wisdom. Instead of merely seeking replacement jobs in systems that had already demonstrated their willingness to exclude them, tens of thousands of Black women made a different choice. They decided to build their own tables rather than continuing to fight for seats at tables where they weren't wanted. They became entrepreneurs. They founded businesses. They created jobs, not just for themselves, but for their communities. Take Denise Washington in Atlanta. After 12 years in healthcare administration, she was laid off when her hospital's diversity program was eliminated. Within 6 months, She had founded a community health initiative that now employs 27 people and serves over 5,000 patients who were previously falling through the cracks of our healthcare system. When I asked her if she would go back to her corporate job if offered, she laughed. Why would I go back to building someone else's dream when I've discovered I can build my own? Or consider Tasha Reynolds in Chicago. After losing her position in retail management, she launched an e commerce platform specifically designed to showcase products made by women of color. The system didn't just reject me, she told Dr. Wheeler. It rejected an entire community of creators who deserve to be seen. Her platform now represents over 300 small businesses and generates millions in revenue that circulates primarily within communities that have been historically underinvested. These aren't isolated success stories, they represent a pattern that reveals something profound about the nature of innovation itself. True innovation rarely comes from those at the center of power. It almost always emerges from the margins, from people who can see problems that those at the center are blind to, who have needs that existing systems don't address, who bring perspectives that established institutions lack. Being excluded from traditional systems doesn't just create hardship, it creates clarity. It allows you to see the flaws in those systems that those within them cannot see. And that clarity becomes the foundation for innovation. This is why Black women entrepreneurs aren't just creating businesses that mimic existing models, they're creating fundamentally new approaches to business that prioritize community impact alongside profit, that build wealth while addressing social needs, that measure success not just in dollars, but in lives transformed. They're not just participating in capitalism, they're reimagining it. And in doing so, they're demonstrating something that should transform how all of us think about rejection, obstacles, and closed doors. What if the greatest opportunities don't come from systems working as designed, but from their failures? What if innovation isn't driven primarily by those with the most resources, but by those with the clearest vision of what's broken? What if the most powerful catalyst for human creativity isn't ease but necessity? What if rejection isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of your revolution? Now, I want to be clear about something important. There's a dangerous tendency in American culture to romanticize struggle, to celebrate the hustle without acknowledging the very real barriers that make that hustle necessary in the first place. So let me be absolutely clear. The fact that Black women are thriving as entrepreneurs despite systemic exclusion is not an argument for maintaining those systems of exclusion. The funding gap remains staggering. Female only founding teams received just 2.3% of all venture capital investment last year, about $6.7 billion dollars out of hundreds of billions invested. At the seed stage, where initial funding is most critical, the number was only slightly better at 3.2%. For Black women founders, the numbers are even more dismal. This isn't because their businesses are less viable, it's because our system for allocating capital remain deeply biased. And yet, despite these barriers, or perhaps because of them, Black women entrepreneurs are developing innovative approaches to funding. They're leveraging crowdfunding platforms. They're creating community based investment circles. They're building grant programs specifically targeted at underrepresented entrepreneurs. They're not just working within the system, They're creating new systems. Consider what's happening in healthcare and social assistance, sectors where Black women entrepreneurs are particularly concentrated. These are areas where traditional systems have consistently failed to adequately serve communities of color. Black women entrepreneurs aren't just creating businesses in these spaces, they're creating new models for care that address the specific needs of populations that have been systematically underserved. They're not just filling gaps in the market, they're healing wounds in the community. Or look at retail, another sector where Black women entrepreneurs are thriving. They're not just opening stores, they're creating spaces that celebrate cultural heritage, that provide platforms for other creators of color, that circulate dollars within communities that have been economically marginalized. They're not just selling products, they're building economic ecosystems. This pattern extends across industries, in technology, in education, in financial services. Black women entrepreneurs are creating businesses that don't just generate profit, but address deep seated inequities that traditional businesses have either ignored or perpetuated. They're turning exclusion into innovation. They're transforming rejection into revolution. And in doing so, they're revealing something profound about the nature of opportunity itself. We tend to think of opportunity as something that exists within established systems, a door that opens, a seat at a table, a path that's already been cleared. But what if the greatest opportunities exist precisely where systems break down? What if the most promising paths are the ones we forge ourselves? What if closed doors aren't endings but beginnings? So here's my challenge to you today. Stop asking for permission from systems designed to exclude you. Stop waiting for recognition from institutions that have already demonstrated they don't value your perspective. Stop trying to fit into spaces that weren't built with you in mind. Instead, ask yourself, what do I see that others don't? What need exists that isn't being met? What solution can I create that doesn't yet exist? Your rejection might be the world's greatest missed opportunity. Your exclusion might be the catalyst for your most powerful innovation. The door that closed might be forcing you to build something far more magnificent than the room you were trying to enter. This isn't just about entrepreneurship. This is about a fundamental shift in how we understand power, possibility, and human potential. The next time you face rejection, whether it's professional, personal, or systemic, I want you to remember what Black women across America are demonstrating right now. That moment of exclusion might just be the beginning of your revolution. Don't just overcome the obstacle, transform it. Don't just find another door, build a better house. Because the truth is, the system that rejected you made a catastrophic mistake. And your response to that rejection might just change everything. Thank you